Morning everyone, welcome back. We're going to do pre-trip inspection on an 18-wheeler today, so we will go ahead and get started. We're looking at the front of the truck. We're looking to make sure it's not leaning to the left or to the right, which could indicate a broken spring or a flat tire. We're looking underneath to make sure there's nothing hanging underneath the vehicle or no debris under the vehicle. We're looking at our lights as we approach and making sure they are all secure. Our clearance lights, our headlights, our turn signals are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We look at our mirror here, make sure the mirror is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're going to open our head latch on this side, head to the other side here. We're looking at our mirror, make sure it's secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And that's the other head latch, and open our head. And then to start over here, we're looking at the windshield wipers to make sure they're secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our wiring to make sure it's secure and it's not frayed, cracked, damaged, or missing any parts. We're looking at our hoses. Our radiator hoses are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the rubber's not frayed and it is not leaking. We're looking at the air conditioning lines. They're secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and are not leaking. Our air intake hoses are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the blow-by tube is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. Our air compressor is secure. It is gear driven, and it is not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, leaking, or missing any parts. And our air lines are secure. They're not frayed, damaged, broken. They're not leaking. We would hear a hissing sound if it was leaking. We're looking at our fuel lines to make sure they're secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they're not leaking. The fuel filter and housing is secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and it is not leaking. The other fuel filter, everything is secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. The power steering lines are secure, and the reservoir has adequate fluid in it. There's no leaks and no frays, cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our brake air lines are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the air pod is secure and nothing is leaking there. Our slack adjusters, our Carter keys and pins are in place. And if we were to chock the wheels and release the brakes, there would not be more than 1 inch play in the slack adjuster. We're looking at our brake linings. Theirs have at least 1/4 of an inch of pad, and the brake drum is secure, and there's no cracks in the brake drums, and it is secure. The pitman arm and drag link is in place. Our Carter keys and castle nuts are secure and in place, and they are not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our tie rod and tie rod ends, Carter keys and castle nuts are in place. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our leaf spring is in place. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And our spring hangers and U-bolts are secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our steering gearbox is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. And also our shock is not leaking and is secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. The inside of our tire looks good. It's not frayed, or no bulges or cuts or abrasions. We're looking at the tire tread is evenly worn and has at least 4/32 tread depth. The outside of the tire, same thing, no cracks, bulges, cuts. The rim is secure. There's no cracks or illegal welds on the rim. The valve cap, valve stem and cap is steel and secure. If we were to put a tire gauge on it, it would be between 90 and 120 psi. We're looking at our lug nuts. This has caps on it, but we were looking to make sure that they are tight, and if there was a loose lug nut, there could be a rust trail or something that would indicate that. We're looking to make sure there's no leaks in the hubs. If there's oil running down or something, we might have a leaky hub. This has a hub cap on it, but we would see oil leaking out if it were leaking. We will move to the other side. We're looking at our coolant reservoir. Make sure that it has adequate fluid in the sight glass, and the cooling lines and heater hoses are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they are not leaking. Our air intake system is all secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, along with our turbo clamps, exhaust and exhaust clamps are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they're not leaking. A soot pattern would indicate a leak in the exhaust system. We're looking at the air intake hoses here. There's no frays, cracks, or damage on them. The washer fluid has adequate fluid in it, and it is not cracked. The reservoir is not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our air conditioner compressor. It's mounted secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our alternator is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. The alternator is belt driven, and there is no more than 3/4 of an inch of play in the belt. We're looking in at our water pump to make sure that it is not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and it is not leaking. We would check all of the brake components and brake lines the same on this side as we did the other side, and the shocks and the leaf springs and the tires, rims, and hubs all check the same as we did on the other side. Close the hood. We will walk down the driver's side and start checking our equipment here. We're looking at air lines, and air equipment here is secure, not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, no frays, and no leaks, hissing sound to indicate a leak. Our battery box is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We don't see any frayed wires. If we were to take the battery box off and make sure there's no debris in there, and the batteries are not leaking, and we don't see any signs of leaks. Our exhaust system is secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and is not leaking. We see a soot pattern indicating a leaking exhaust. We are looking at our stair treads here. Make sure that our stairs are secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our frame to make sure that our frame rail is secure and it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. It does not have any illegal welds. As we look down in here, we're looking at our air tanks, making sure they are not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the air lines and the tanks are secure. The drive line is secure and it's not loose. The U-joints are not loose and they're not, they are properly greased. We have our air lines here. They are secure, they're not frayed or damaged, and they're not leaking. We're looking at our brakes on the front axle here. The brake pods are secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they're not leaking. Our slack adjusters would be checked the same way. Release the brakes and no more than 3/4 of an inch play with the wheels chopped. And our S-cams are secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our rear differential is secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and it is not leaking. We have a drive line between the two differentials. We're looking at it to make sure that it's secure and it's the U-joints are not loose on them and everything is in place there. We have our shock absorbers here. They're secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they're not leaking. So the shock absorbers there. We're looking at our rear tires. Make sure that they have at least 2 30-second tread depth. The rims are not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our lug nuts are secure. They're not loose, and rust trail would indicate a loose lug nut. The hub has a hub cap, but we're looking for oil leak around it, and there's no oil leaks. Steel valve cap, valve stem and valve cap. If we were to put a tire gauge on it, it would be between 90 and 120 psi. 2 30-second tread depth, evenly worn. No cuts, bulges, or abrasions on the tire. We're looking between the duals to make sure they're evenly spaced and that there is no debris between them. And if you look in there, you can see the airbags. They are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they're not leaking. We're looking at our leaf springs there on the front and the rear axle there. They are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the U-bolts are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. If we look up here, we're looking to make sure that there's no gap in the fifth wheel plate between the trailer and the fifth wheel plate, and the pin is securely locked here. We will walk back this way. We're looking at our trailer dolly legs. Make sure that our handle is secure and the dolly is secure. Our mud flaps are secure. And if we crawl in here, we're looking at the gap between the trailer and the fifth wheel plate, and there's no gap. We're looking at our kingpin locking jaws, and they are secure. And on the kingpin, we're looking at our rear shock absorbers to make sure they're secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. They're not leaking. Looking at our rear airbags here, They are secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our air lines are secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. They're not frayed, and a hissing sound would indicate a leak. The rear differential is secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and it is not leaking. Our rear lights are secure, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they're not leaking. We're looking at the dunnage to make sure our dunnage is secure, that it's not going to fall off the trailer. We're looking at the trailer frame to make sure that it is secure, it's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. There's no illegal welds. The rear trailer tires will be the same 2/32 tread depth or more. Rims, they are not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. No illegal welds. Our lug nuts are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Rust trail to indicate a loose lug nut. Check the tire pressure the same way with the tire gauge. Between 90 and 120 psi. And a steel valve cap and steel valve core. The hub is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And it is not leaking. And if we was to crawl under here and look, we're looking to make sure there's no debris between the duals and they're evenly spaced. We're looking at our suspension and springs. This is spring. Suspension parts are all secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We're looking at our air lines and our air tank. Make sure they're secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. They're not leaking. The rear brake pods are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And the shock absorbers are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Not leaking. We would check the rear slack adjusters the same way, and also making sure the pins and the Carter keys are in place on the slack adjusters. And if we were to chock the wheels, no more than 3/4 of an inch plate. Moving on back, we would check these 3 axles the same way on the brakes, on the hubs and rims and tires. Everything's the same. Our lights are secure. On the back of the trailer, they're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Our ramps are up and they are securely locked in place so they will not fall. We check everything on this side the same as the other side. Checking our lights and everything, making sure they're secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. Checking all of the tires and rims and hubs the same as we did the other side. Checking our dunnage to make sure it's securely mounted, same as the other side. Checking all of our rear axles, tires, rims the same. We're checking our hydraulic tank, which is different on this side. Make sure that it's secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And it is not leaking. And the hydraulic lines are secure. They're not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. And they're not leaking. All of our trailer air lines and wires are all securely mounted up here. They're not going to fall and get damaged. And they are not currently damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and they're not leaking. Our exhaust system is securely mounted here, checking it the same way as the other side, no leaks on it. The fuel tank is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts, and it is not leaking. The air intake box here is secure. It's not cracked, damaged, broken, loose, or missing any parts. We will now get inside the truck.
You want to take this?
We're going to get in the truck, and we're looking first at our seatbelt to make sure our seatbelt is not frayed, damaged, or broken, loose, and missing any parts, and then it latches securely. Always check your seatbelt first thing when you get in the cab. Now we're going to turn the key to the on position. Make sure our lights come on and then go back off the way they should be. We're looking to make sure that our ABS light as well, that it goes off. We'll start the vehicle and we're going to build our air pressure up to 120 psi to 150. Make sure the air cutoff 120 to 140 psi, and make sure that the air cutoff goes off. Pressure relief, governor cutoff. Pressure, and while the pressure is building up, we're checking our other gauges, make sure that the voltage comes up, and it should be between 12 and 14, and we are. Our coolant temperature will come up as the engine warms up. Our oil pressure is between 40 and 60, and we have proper oil pressure. We have adequate fuel for the trip. Waiting on our air pressure to build up. We will go ahead and flip on our headlights. And we're going to check our indicators, our dash indicators. Right turn, left turn. And our bright light indicator is working properly. Checking our windshield washers and wipers, make sure that they are working as they should, and they are. And we should be about to the cutoff, governor cutoff, and there it is, it just cut off. So now we are going to shut the tractor off. We're going to turn the key on. We're going to hold firm pressure on the brake and release the brake. And we should not lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute after our initial drop. And we're counting off 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. And after 1 minute, we're going to feather our brakes down and make sure the warning indicators come on, and they do. And then they should come on at 60 psi. And as we continue to go down, the brakes should release, and spring brakes should set between 20 and 40, and they just set. Okay. Now we are going to fire the truck back up and build up our air pressure. And as the air pressure is building, we're going to check our lights outside, and then we'll come back inside and complete our brake test. So we're going to turn on our left turn signal. I guess the window don't go down on this one. Oh, it's yeah. Okay, you want to check the lights? Because I have a helper who is going to check my lights for me. And we have left turn, right turn, brakes, and then we have right turn, and left turn, and headlights, brights, dim. You want to check the reverse light? You want to check the reverse light? And we have good reverse lights. And we are still waiting on our air pressure to build up, and we'll check our brakes. If we have the brakes set, we'll go ahead and pull gently against our brakes and make sure that they are holding, and they are. On our tractor, when our air pressure builds up, we will check the trailer brakes separately and make sure they're holding. And that will also check the kingpin to make sure that it is locked properly when we do that. We're going to check our defroster fan while we're here, make sure our defrosters are working. And they are. As our air pressure is building up here, we will go ahead and check our horn, and it is working. Our air pressure is built up enough here to release the trailer brakes and pull against tractor only, and it's working. We will set the trailer brakes and release the tractor brakes and pull gently against the trailer and make sure that it is locked in place and the trailer brakes are working. We'll give the air pressure a minute to build back up. We're going to release our brakes and pull forward at approximately 5 miles per hour. Give the brakes a minute to get all the air in the system, and we'll pull forward about 5 miles an hour and do a firm pressure on the brakes to make sure they are secure and they are not pulling to the left or to the right. And that concludes the pre-trip inspection on an 18-wheeler semi-truck. Thank you for watching. Bye now.